Hello. In this presentation, we'll explore how to evaluate classification models comprehensively. Unlike regression, where we predict continuous values, classification predicts categories. Will a customer buy or not? Will a patient respond to treatment? Will cover confusion matrices, the impact of different cutoff thresholds, accuracy analysis, ROC curves with AUC, and business-focused metrics like gains and lift charts. By the end, you'll understand not just whether your model works, but how well it works and how to optimize it for your specific needs. So we start by loading a dataset containing predicted probabilities of buying behavior. The dataset has probability of buying, models predicted probability from 0 to 1, and class, actual outcome, was this a buyer or non-buyer. Now, to convert probabilities into class predictions, we need a cutoff threshold. If probability is greater than cutoff, predict buyer, otherwise predict non-buyer. So we import pandas for data manipulation and then load the buyer's probability dataset that contains predicted probabilities. Now we convert probabilities to class predictions using cutoff equal to 0.5. This is a default standard cutoff threshold. So if probability is greater than 0.5, predict buyer, otherwise predict non-buyer. So that's what you see here. If P greater than 0.5, then it's a buyer, otherwise non-buyer. And P is in the buyer's buyer underscore DF. Now we define a custom function to display a formatted confusion matrix along with accuracy. The confusion matrix shows different values here. So we have actual non-buyer, actual buyer, predicted non-buyer, predicted buyer. So if you have an actual non-buyer and you predicted non-buyer, then it's a true negative. If it's an actual buyer and you predict as a buyer, it's a true positive. On the other hand, if it's a predicted actual non-buyer and you predict it as a buyer, it's a false positive. And if it's an actual buyer and you predict non-buyer, then it's a false negative. So accuracy is defined as true negative plus true positive divided by total, which is the proportion of correct predictions. Right. So that's something which we will be looking at in coming results. So I'm going to first run this first code here. The data has been loaded and we have set it at P greater than 0.5. Now next, we import confusion matrix and accuracy scores from scikit-learn. Confusion matrix creates a 2x2 matrix of actual versus predicted, as we saw, and accuracy score calculates proportion of correct predictions. So this is the code for importing these functions from scikit-learn.metrics library. So we get confusion matrix and accuracy score. And then we are defining the classification summary function here. So that function, as we can see here, is basically going to help us provide a lot of results that we want. It takes actual values, predicted values, and optionally class names, and then produces a nicely formatted output. That's the goal of this particular function. So we print a summary of classification performance by inputting actual values, predicted values, and then class names optional. Calculate the confusion matrix and accuracy. That's one thing it does. So you have these functions that we're going to use here, and then print the confusion matrix with formatting. And if no class name provided, use numeric labels and convert the confusion matrix and labels to strings for formatting. So that's something which you see here. Determine the width for the first label column and the individual cells. So this is just making the results look pretty nice. So that's the formatting statements here. All these are formatting that output results. So we can now enter this particular code as well. So we're going to run this. So once that has been run, now we're going to evaluate different cutoff thresholds. The choice of cutoff significantly impacts model performance. Lower cutoff, for example, 0.25 as against 0.5 that we used. In that case, more predictions as buyer. So we have higher sensitivity and lower specificity. On the other hand, higher cutoff, for example, 0.75, will have fewer predictions as buyer, which means lower sensitivity and higher specificity. Now, the optimal cutoff depends on the business context and the relative costs of false positive versus false negative. So we're going to evaluate with cutoff of 0.5, which is the standard threshold. This is the baseline where equal weights to both types of errors. So I'm going to run this. So we have actual non-buyer and predicted non-buyer as 45, actual non-buyer and predicted buyer as 5, actual buyer and predicted non-buyer as 2, actual buyer and predicted buyer as 48. Right. Now we change that cutoff to 0.25 and we run this model again. So now we have all 50 actual being predicted as non-buyer. There's no non-buyer who's been predicted as buyer. We have 24 buyers who have been predicted as non-buyers, and we have 26 buyers who have been predicted as buyers. And then we use, this was a aggressive case. Now we use more conservative case where we are going to have 0.75, in which case we have actual non-buyer and predicted non-buyer as 18, actual non-buyer and predicted as a buyer is 32, and actual buyer being predicted as non-buyer is 1, actual buyer being predicted as buyer is 49, right? So this is a more conservative case. Now, accuracy versus cutoff analysis. To systematically analyze the effect of different cutoffs, we test cutoffs from 0.0 to 1.0 in increments of 0.1. We can calculate accuracy at each level, each cutoff. We can plot accuracy and error rate against cutoff values. So that's something which we can do. So this helps identify the cutoff that maximizes accuracy or minimizes error. So this way, rather than testing cutoffs one by one like we did just now, we can systematically analyze all cutoffs from 0.0 to 1.0. So to do that, we'll load a new dataset on streaming subscriptions. Then we create cutoffs in 0.1 increments and calculate accuracy at each point. That's what this loop is going to do. This loop iterates through each cutoff, makes predictions, and stores the resulting accuracy. So let's run this loop here after loading this new data. After that, we plot the accuracy and error rate versus cutoff value. So that's something which we can plot two lines, solid for accuracy, dashed for error rate. That's what this is doing here. So dashed will be for error rate. And then we set the y-axis limits and labels, and we run this. So here is the result. If you remember that maximum accuracy isn't always the goal, business context determines the optimal threshold. We can see here how accuracy changes across the range. The peak indicates the best cutoff for this particular data set and objective, and the overall error obviously goes down at that point. So this is something which helps us capture accuracy for classification models. Now next, we look at the ROC curve, or receiver operating characteristic curve, which is one of the most important tools for evaluating classification models. It shows the trade-off between true positive rate and false positive rate across all possible cutoffs. So in ROC curve, we have x-axis, which is your false positive rate, which is 1 minus specificity, and it's calculated by taking the false positive and dividing it by the sum of false positive and true negative. Y-axis is the true positive rate, which is the sensitivity, and it's calculated by taking the true positive and dividing it by the sum of true positive and false negative. So the key insight is that the diagonal line is the random classifier with no predictive power. The curve above the diagonal is the model that we are using. It has some predictive value if we have a curve above the diagonal line. And AUC, the area under curve, which is the overall model quality. 0.5 is the random and 1 is perfect. So whatever area we can capture above that diagonal would be something which tells us how good the quality of the model is. Higher AUC indicates better discrimination between classes. So what we're going to do is we import ROC curve and AUC from scikit.metrics. So these are two functions that we will be using from this library. And then compute ROC curve points and AUC. FPR is the false positive rate at different thresholds. TPR is the true positive rate at different thresholds. And the underscore, this one is our threshold values. We are not using it here. So I'm going to run this code here. So we calculate area under curve by doing this. And now we can plot the ROC curve. The ROC curve plot imports the matplotlib.pylib. The PLT is something which we are going to call this particular function, which helps us plot the figures for the ROC curve. So here is our ROC curve that we have, where we can see the false positive rate on the x-axis, true positive rate on the y-axis, and the area under the curve is 0.9375. We see the orange curve is our model's ROC curve. The diagonal line, dashed diagonal line, represents a random classifier with no predictive power. And the key interpretation points are: a curve hugging the top left corner indicates an excellent model. A curve close to the diagonal suggests the model is no better than random guessing. The AUC value ranges from 0.5 random to 1.0, which is perfect. So our model is displayed here. Generally, AUC above 0.7 is acceptable, above 0.8 is good, and above 0.9 is excellent. Now moving on to the next portion here, which is a cumulative gains chart. The gains chart shows how effectively the model identifies positive cases when records are sorted by predicted probability with highest first. Again, the interpretation is the diagonal line would be the random selection where there's no model. Model curve is the cumulative positive captured when selecting by model score, and lift is how much better the model performs versus random. Example, if the top 20% of records by predicted probability contains 50% of actual positives, then the model provides 2.5x lift over random selection. Right, so that's basically the division of these two. So for that, we are going to import, again, we're going to import some functions here, pandas and matplotlib.pyplot for the work that we're going to do here. We define gains chart as a function. This function creates the visualization. It takes data that must be sorted by predicted probability, highest first. Then the function calculates cumulative gains. As we process records from highest to lowest predicted probability, how many actual positives have we accumulated? That's what the question that's going to ask. So that's what it does, and after that we are going to plot it. So all this is for the plotting of the cumulative gains chart. So here I'm going to run this one. Now we have defined that function, now we are going to sort data by predicted probability in descending order. This is essential because Gains chart assumes data is sorted by model score. So that's the task of this line here, sorting the values, and then creating Gains chart showing cumulative subscribers captured by calling that function that we just created in the previous code. So here is our result. So in the chart, the diagonal dashed line represents random selection. If we randomly select customers, we'd capture a subscriber at a constant rate. That's this one. The curved line shows our model. If it rises steeply at first, the model is effectively identifying subscribers. For example, if the top 20% of customers by predicted probability contains 50% of actual subscribers, our model would have provided 2.5x lift over random selection, right? So that's something which we can look at from here. So in this case, we have a lift chart which is still having a better performance than what the random would have been. Now moving on to decile lift chart. This lift chart divides the sorted data into 10 equal groups and shows how much better each decile performs compared to the overall average. The interpretation is lift equals 1.0, which means same as overall average, no improvement. Lift greater than 1, better than average, model does add value, and lift is less than 1, worse than average. A good model should have high lift in top deciles, which correctly identifies best prospects, and decreasing lift from left to right. So we are going to see how ours look like. Right, so this is another business focused view. So the function we are going to create is lift chart. This function assigns each record to a decile group from 0 to 9. Then it calculates the mean actual outcome for each group. So it's increments of 10 that it's going to create, and then it's going to calculate the outcome for each group. And then lift is calculated by dividing each decile's mean by the overall mean. A lift of 2 means that decile has twice the subscription rate of the overall population. Right, so that's what we have here. So we're going to now first define this function, and then we'll call that function and create a plot for it. So this is going to be the lift chart for us. So in the bar chart, the x-axis shows percentile from 10% to 100%, representing each decile. The y-axis shows lift. For a good model, high bars on the left, meaning top deciles, have much higher response rates than average. The bars decreasing from left to right. We do have one bar which actually goes up here again, showing that the model effectively ranks prospects. Lower decile with lift below 1.0, so that's something which are over here, for example. So this information is directly actionable if budget allows contacting only 30% of customers or 20% of customers. We would choose these top to 20%, top 2 deciles for maximum impact in this case. So that's something which can be helpful in resource constrained environments. So with that, I conclude this presentation. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thank you.